Hi, I'm Don Devillak. You have arrived at the third online video in the Before You Spend Big Money series of videos titled Short Form Investor Package. You're probably wondering why the short form investor package is in the Before You Get Started series. After all, you don't really need to go out and get money right now. You probably have enough to kind of self fund it for a while. But the fact is, getting people involved early is the best way to keep them involved and keep getting more and more investments. It also cuts your risk, but more importantly, it forces you to really think through your product, think through its markets, think through what its features are, and really compare it closely to competition. You want to do this before you spend money because it's the one way that you can have to see that the invention is worthwhile, to see that you're going to make money, and to see how to position your product so you have the best chance of success. Now, one of the things that I is important when you're taking on investors is to explain that there may be later investments and their share of the company will decline. So if they buy 10% ownership now, this ownership percentage will go down if you take on additional investors later on, either from individual investors or in-kind investments from a manufacturer or a product engineer. One thing you're going to be constantly trying to do as you spend more and more money or you get into a more and more expensive part of the commercialization process is you're going to ask people to for an in-kind investment, which means like if it's a manufacturer, maybe they'll supply tooling for you, maybe they'll give you design help, maybe they'll give you a prototype either for free or for a reduced amount of money in returns for shares of the company. As these people give you more investments, you have to kind of reallocate the investment percentage for companies. And so just let people know that if there's a lot more investments and a lot more things happen with the company, their share of the investment might go down. Now, when you make a presentation, the very first thing you want to do is have a very powerful impact statement. Now, you can really do this in a wide variety of ways, and I've just listed 4 or 5 of the ways here now that you can make an impact. But make one that's so powerful that people just say, wow, this really has got to be a great idea. One way you can do it is that just show people don't like current products. So they have products, but they're not satisfying their needs, they're not fulfilling what they want, and they're really not giving people the product they want. Another thing you could really focus on is fast moving trends. You see this all the time with Google or Facebook buying up new companies that have come up with a new way of social networking or a new application. But when the markets are shifting rapidly or there's something new coming on, this is really a great place to jump in. There was an inventor here in Minnesota who came up with rollerblades originally, and when that jumped in and was a fast moving trend, there was all types of inventors coming up with new products to jump on that trend. Something that made rollerblading easier, something that really helped them if they should fall or learn how to rollerblade. Another way you can do this is have a very strong benefit. I mean very strong, such as a product cuts production time 35%. This is a powerful benefit. You might have a water filtration system that cuts out all iron from your water, or you might have one that replaces RO at 1/3 the cost for your refrigerator filters, which typically can cost $35 a month. You can also show as a powerful impact statement is research that you've done with your distribution channel, with your sales reps, with other manufacturers, all this type of information that supports that this is really a good product that really has a very strong application. For instance, you could say four of 5 retailers state that this product is desperately needed and they would support it if it was available. That's an impact statement. You might also have a very powerful positioning statement that, for example, first commercial quality silicon bakeware available to consumers. The person who came out with that statement is in our inventor stories, which you might want to check out. But he was the first guy who took what they were using it in baking stores or commercial bakeries were all using silicon, but none was available to consumers. So that was his positioning statement. That was where he got started in the marketplace. Your next step in your presentation is to show your product and its two main benefits. Now, you might not have a product right now, but you need a high quality drawing or an actual photo of the actual product if possible. Now, what you're going to find is that there's a lot of people out there in freelance world. So if you go on freelance product designers or freelance graphic artists, you can get somebody who will be willing to do something for you for $25 an hour, or you can take out a competitive bids and just say, I have $100 for this drawing, and see if people respond. There's all types of freelance sites on the internet now where you can get a very low cost person to put together your package or your drawing for your initial package. One of the reasons I like to use freelance product designers is you need a design that's noticeably better than competition. You don't want to just have a product and show how it is, what it will look like, and have it look like just the competitive products. That's really not going to help you. You really want a design that stands out. The garlic twist, which is a little device that takes the place of a garlic press and uses a little pincher action to slice the garlic in half, isn't just a better product, doesn't just look better, but it has a design that looks like it's in the 2000s, whereas the garlic press looks like it was made in the 1940s. When you can have this kind of an advantage, be sure to seize it when you're looking at an old product and come out with something much better. The toaster oven is an example of a product that really looks old. Someday someone's going to come out with a more advanced toaster oven with a much better look, and they're going to take the market by storm. And so be sure to use a product designer if you can, and come out with a design that really looks better. Now, once you have your product and it's standing out, show the competitive products. Really show those products so that your design sticks out. And if necessary, show the actual products. If they're too expensive, show the brochure. I like to actually have the products because I like to show the drawbacks of the current products and why your product is better and what they're actually going to replace. So if you're showing the product and say, look at this is the way this works, then you can say this is how my feature will work. So it is good to have at least one competitive product, but you definitely want to show the competitive products to your investors so they get a sense of what that's at. You have to have at least two benefits of your product over the competition. Now, only highlight the top benefits. It's extremely bad to go and list like 10 or 15 benefits that you have, because people's eyes will glaze over and they just won't be listening to you. What you've got to do instead is really just highlight the major benefits. Now, the last one is very important, to show how the consumers can quickly notice the benefits. If you look at new products on the shelf, you don't know what there's better. I mean, I go and look at coffee makers. How do I know which one is better? But sometimes there's a product that stands out with a different design, or I can see instantly that those features are really there. And when I see that, that's a very big plus to me. I know, for example, on my coffee maker, it would be nice if people would actually have something there that would say, boom, this is how much coffee you put in. Now, it's very speculative, and my wife and I make coffee that's not the same because of this. So I think that if you have something on your product that stands out to really accentuate the feature, and so people really notice it, that's an enormous plus. Again, going back to your freelance product designers, the product designers, this is their job to help you do that. And I kind of think it's a good idea to work with a product designer or have some friends to come up with ideas so that you can really have a design that sizzles at this point. Now, your investors are sitting there and wondering just how on the ball you are, especially when you start talking to designers or manufacturers or project engineers or prototype makers, when you're looking for some in-kind investments or low cost in return for future work. They're going to wonder just, how on the ball you are in the market. So it's very important to show what you've done to date. If you've gone to trade shows, how you've gathered market intelligence, how you have how you have set up a network of industry insiders, how you have two sales reps who are giving you input, how you have talked to inventors at other companies or small company marketers, everything you've done that you really has shown that you've gotten some positive feedback from industry insiders for your product. That's very important, and it's really going to help you get that investment that you're looking for. So now what we've talked about is the product, how it's different from competition, what's better about it, how you've worked a lot with the industry insiders to get positive feedback about your product. Now we have to talk about what is the market for the product, how are you going to sell the product, how is it going to get out there, and is the target market receptive? So first define what your target market is. You should define it, one, as a consumer. What consumers are going to buy a product. You also want to talk about your targeted distribution channel. You want to sell it through channel A or channel B, and if you have targeted retail stores. Now, you want to list both the targeted smaller stores that you make for a beachhead, to get your product started, but also you want to mention the larger market that you will be selling into eventually. Now, one of the ideas that you have is you want to talk about your target market. And one of the first things to talk about is how free the inventors, or the consumers are, I should say, are to actually spending freely. So if you have a high-tech camera buff who wants to take tremendous pictures, this is a great target market, because those type of camera buffs spend money freely if they can see that the product you have offers them a real benefit. Next thing you want to show about your target market is that it actually has supported other new products from inventors or small companies. You don't want to market. It's very hard to sell to a market where there hasn't been any success from small companies or inventors, and everything has been controlled by large companies. So show that there's other companies who've come out and have been successful, other inventors have been successful in this market, and talk about what those products are. If you show those products, the people will say, well, your product has just as great an advantage as those did. I also like to show that the companies the market doesn't just support small companies, but it also supports mid-range companies. I mean, people aren't investing in you just to keep you small. They want to see you're growing, and you want to show that here's some mid-range companies. It's even better yet if some of those mid-range companies were started by inventors 5 to 10 years ago. That will really show that your product has a real chance to grow, and the investors will make their money back. And then you also want to take a look about the target customers, why they will support your product. And talk about, again, end users and the distribution channel and retailers. They're all possible avenues where your product really gives them a benefit, and you want to show what their benefit is. And when the retailers, for example, your benefit is that they're selling these two complementary products, but they don't have a product here in the middle that kind of makes all three products work better. Now, a positioning strategy is just really how you're going to take your product to the market and how it's differentiated. I've just listed a few differentiation positioning statements here. The first product that stops our cat from drinking out of the faucet. Now that's, of course, for the drink well, which I've talked about in earlier sections, and it's still into our inventor story. For the garlic twist, cuts the time for preparing garlic in half. Our third one is the only low-cost entertainment system for airlines. This is a story. It's called the DigiPlayer, and it's in our inventor stories on the website. But this inventor is the first person who came up with the little entertainment sections that go on the back of the chairs, where everyone can customize what they're watching. So they have a selection of maybe 20 shows to watch, and they can choose it. This is versus previously what they had was the monitors on the plane. You could only watch whatever the one monitor was playing, and everyone had to watch the same show. So that person's system was not only much more convenient and customer friendly, but it was much lower cost. Interestingly enough, since his customer was the airline, he focused his position strategy on what the airlines wanted, which was a low-cost entertainment system. You should also talk about patents. What have you done about a patent? What have you done about trademarks, or what your plans are to do in the future? Now, the patent office has what they call a provisional patent, which is only about $1,000 to apply for. You can apply for it yourself, where the application fee, I believe it's $130 if you're a small entity. Now, that's not a lot of money, and you're going to find investors really want to know about your patents. The manufacturers want to know about your patents because they'll all think, well, they don't want to be caught where you come out with a product and are successful and someone just copies it. If you're not going to get a patent, or you can't get a patent, tell people what you're going to do to keep the product from being stolen. But I highly recommend that you at least do a patent search and get a provisional patent. There's many places on the internet there you can get them low cost. One Stop Invention Shop has provisional patents for $1,000, but it's certainly something you need to look into. Next, you're going to talk about your price. Now, this is your competitive price that you're charging end users. Now, the price you want to show is competitive. It makes sense for what your features are to the competition, but to also mention how you've decided to have that price. So if it's like, say, $79.95, you just didn't come out with this price in the blue. You looked at competitive products. You talked to some of your industry insiders. You've talked to some of the reps. Maybe you talked to other invention-related companies in your industry, and you've gotten feedback about your price. It's very dangerous to go and just state a price without showing some feedback from industry insiders. Tell people what you want. Now, this is really how much money do you want to have from people. Have it firmly fixed in your mind how much you need and how it will be used. Now, it's okay just to ask for money for a patent, but if you have to have money for a prototype, try to get people involved early and giving you that money so that they can really see what it's going to do. One of the things about a provisional patent is you have only 1 year to apply for a regular patent, a utility patent. So be sure you have enough money that you can get a prototype, or you can get something done to get more market testing so that when that 1 year is up, you really have firm evidence that your product will sell. Then tell people what you're offering in return. You might offer shares of stock to investors. You might offer guaranteed business for a designer or a manufacturer, or you might ask for a repayment of a loan. But make it quite clear how you're going to pay the money.